good evening and welcome to today's episode of Reality's a Moment with Susie. Apologise for the late start, and before we go to the show, to the actual topic of the show, I'd like to say a big thank you to linkme.com who have sponsored this show, and I think it would only be right for us to show their advert in appreciation, and if you guys want to use them. A big thank you to Linked Me. Thank you. Today's show is about sickle cell. I have two guests with me tonight, and they're going to be talking about their experience of living with sickle cell, and they also run a charity for people who are going through the same experience. I'd like to say a big thank you. This is sickle cell is a illness that it's hereditary. So it's not something that people just get overnight like some sicknesses out there. And people have to live with it. And living with it can be very difficult. Tonight, I have with me Ruth. Hi, Ruth. Thank you so much for joining me. And for me. They are both advocates for Wholesome Cells.
Yes.
That is a charity for sickle cell. Do you want to, I don't know who wants to start off, but maybe we should start the show, because I think sickle cell is something that unless you know somebody who has it, so unless there's something there that links you to it, it's something that people don't hear about a lot. I would say my experience of hearing about sickle cell was my time that I spent in Nigeria and having a few friends around me that had sickle cell, and that's how I got to know about it. So should we start off with what is sickle cell?
Sickle cell is a hereditary disease, like we all know.
Yeah.
It's linked with the red blood cells, where the red cells are sickle in shape. They're not round. They're very flaccid, and so they carry less oxygen into the bloodstream.
Yeah.
Now, with sickle cell disease or sickle cell anemia, because those red blood cells are sickle in shape, they're much smaller than the normal red blood cells, which are round and quite supple, and so they get quite sticky within the veins.
Yeah.
And what happens is, as they flow
Through the veins.
Through the veins.
Yeah.
They flow with very less oxygen because it is quite plastic.
Narrow, yeah.
It's narrow.
Yeah.
And what tends to happen is they begin to stick together to form blood clots within the body.
Yeah.
Now those blood clots, once they get into the bloodstream, they begin to block up the bloodstream and block up the veins, whereby causing something we call crisis.
Yeah.
Crisis is the pain that you get from having less oxygen in the system, and the flow of sickle blood cells are not moving freely. So they form these blood clots in the veins, and they do not allow other blood vessels move.
To move through, yeah.
And that just, crisis pain is sort of like described as having continuous stabbing in the
pins and serious pins and needles, I heard.
It's like a stabbing effect, and it just keeps going. And the reason why that's happening is because the body at that moment doesn't have any oxygen.
Yeah.
The oxygen levels are so low that the organs could shut down.
Yeah.
It could affect your liver, could affect the kidneys. In children, they tend to get strokes. So there's more rapidly quite a few children who end up getting strokes because of the crisis that they get from sickle cell.
Yeah.
The other thing that happens with sickle cell is because there's less oxygen in the body, the immunity of the body is quite low.
Yeah.
And so you have distortions to the bone. You have, you can have jaundice because of anemia. The body tends to get anemic quite quickly, where the blood cells, the hemoglobin levels, tend to go down quite slightly. They're quite vulnerable, and they go down. In a normal person without sickle cell, the blood levels tend to be between 12 and 13.
Yeah.
In somebody with sickle cell, you have blood vessels that range from possibly 4. Now they call it 40. They go up to 100 because they've removed the decimal point in between them.
Okay. Yep.
So you've got 4. It could range from 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now thereby causing quite a lot of anemia.
Wow.
And in that state, there's a lethargy, there's jaundice, there's fatigue, constant fatigue, constant listlessness. The organs of the body begin to react to
not having enough
oxygen
yeah,
in the system, and whereby you have so many people going to hospital at that stage.
Yeah.
And the only things the doctor can really do is to either give you a blood transfusion, which is what they found works.
Yeah.
Or you end up taking loads of narcotics.
Morphine. There's a lot of morphine.
Morphine. You've got oxycodone, oxynum.
Strong drugs, strong painkillers.
Strong painkillers. They're called opioids.
That knock you out totally.
Really knock you out. And those are the only things that really help with the pain. They have milder effects. You've got things like the tramadol, which are the milder painkillers, and you have codeine.
Yeah.
You know, it depends on how bad your sickle cell is for you to be given those drugs. And what tends to happen over time with somebody in sickle cell, over time, you have possibly bone distortions.
Yeah.
Because once you keep getting constant crisis, then the bone begins
to actually affected.
It begins to react. It begins to affect the bones. The blood vessels, you know, when especially the bone marrow is giving off possibly, we call them HbS cells.
Yeah. I remember.
HbS cells. When you have the S cell within the blood vessels, now doctors now begin to calculate how much S cells you have in your system.
You have in your system, yeah.
Instead of calculate to which the S cells.
Can I ask you? Can I just ask?
Yes.
The S cells. When you talk about the S cells, depending on how many you have in your system, that determines how much oxygen you have in your system. Is that? I don't know.
Not necessarily. The S cells are the sickle cells.
Okay.
In the body.
Okay, that's the crescent shape.
The crescent shape cells. There are other ways they calculate the oxygen levels in your system.
Yeah.
And you have monitors which they put on your fingers, which would monitor whether you have 80%, 70%, 60%, or 90%. At that point, you're meant to be on oxygen continuously, even if you go down to about 80. That's not good for your body at all.
Now you've kind of explained something to me, because I would say that I've realized that when I go into the hospital, in the wards where the sickle cell patients are, I see a lot of them with oxygen masks on. Yes. So that is to replenish the lost oxygen. Yeah. Also, there was one of the things I read also was that unlike someone who has the normal blood cells, the red blood cells, they last for 20 days, but the sickle cells last for 10 to 12 days, which means because of that also you have a lack of oxygen.
Absolutely.
Is that correct?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay.
The sickle cells, well, they vary. In some people, they would last 10 to 12 days.
Yeah.
Now, I'll go back to the S cells in the system just for a second, because the bone marrow begins to produce these S cells, which are the sickle-shaped cells in the body. In some people, they have 100% S cells, which is why sickle cell varies in different people.
Oh, I get you.
Everybody is different when it comes to sickle cell. Everybody's completely different. We all suffer very
Different
different symptoms
variations of the illness.
of
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
illness at different times. So you have people that constantly get these S cells. All the body is doing is producing S cells.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, you have people that the body produces less S cells.
And they
So-
have
and
less crises.
they
Yes.
have less
That's
crisis.
it.
And the ones that have more S cells, you tend to find more in hospital quite frequently
Yeah.
because like the system does different things at
Different
different
things
times.
at different times. Yeah.
But what the doctors have begun to monitor, especially in the UK at the moment,
Yeah.
is how much S cells you have in your system. Now, if your system is totally concentrated on S cells, they tend to give you a transfusion
To make
to try
up.
and dilute
Yeah.
the amount of S cells you're getting.
Mhm.
Or they give you an exchange transfusion every 6 weeks.
Oh.
Now, every 6 weeks just means, because you mentioned something quite earlier, which is quite important, where the blood cells begin to die of 10
Yeah.
to 12 days.
Yeah.
Now, with normal red blood cells, normal people lose red blood cells every 3 months.
Yeah. As
Between
in they die
60
off
they die
naturally.
Yeah,
off
they die off
naturally,
naturally.
Yeah.
within 60 to 90 days.
Yeah.
But with people with sickle cell, you're looking at between 2 weeks to a month.
Wow.
And that's why they keep mentioning that they've got to keep coming back every 6
Yeah.
weeks to either have an exchange transfusion
Yeah.
or to have a transfusion, depending on the hospital.
On the hospital. Fumi, can I just say, do you know what? I want to say thank you so much for that explanation because I feel that it is really, really important to actually, for people to have an understanding, so at least they can understand, you know, where we're actually coming from, what sickle cell is. I'm going to say to people now that this is a live show. The number will be displayed on the screen, and if at any point of time you feel like ringing in or you want to share your experience with us, because Ruth and Fumi are going to be sharing their experiences with us today, please feel free. Or if you have any questions you would like to ask them, please feel free to ring in. The number will be scrolled on the screen. Can I go to Ruth and say, you know, since we've kind of had a brief description, because you know what, it's much major than that, isn't it? But that's a brief description. Ruth, could you tell us how people get sickle cell? I mean, you know, a lot of people already know, but there are so many people out there that don't understand how it comes about.
Yeah.
So would you be able to do that for us, please?
Those who have sickle cell, both parents will have blood group of AS.
Yeah.
And what happens is, with the S in each parent's blood comes together to give us an SS, one with the sickle cell, who has sickle cell.
Yeah.
Apparently, that's why they say that if anybody is going to get married,
Yeah.
they ought to find out what their whether they're AS or AA.
The importance around it,
yeah.
yeah.
So that you don't keep on producing children who've got sickle cell, because and that's one thing that people need to be educated on.
Yeah,
That
definitely.
What if you're going to get married, make sure that you go for a blood test to find out what your partner is, either AS or AA.
And do you know what? When you say that, Ruth, when you think about it, it's something that very few people think about
Yeah.
when they fall in love. You
Yeah,
know, you
that's
fall
true.
in love, you're in love, isn't
Exactly.
it? And all you want to do
Exactly.
is get married and live happily ever after.
Yeah.
But there is and I know that there are a few Caucasian people that have sickle cell, but it's mainly among the Africans, Sahara, Mediterraneans, and Asians.
Yeah.
And so it is very, very important. Yeah, you might be in love,
Yeah.
but if you don't check it, there is a possibility that you could have a child. And also, I think, have a child who is SS or even AS.
Yes.
And also, I think, I don't know about a country like our country, Nigeria, but I know here in the UK, when you give birth to a child, they do the
check.
blood
Yeah.
test to check
What the-
your child's
Yeah.
blood group and
Yeah.
whether, because I remember both my kids having it.
Yeah.
So you've got SS, then you have some other ones, don't
Have
you?
SC.
What's SC, sorry?
SC is like the one partner will have the blood group of AC, and the other partner will have a blood group of AS. So the child picks the S and the C, which is another type of sickle cell disease. They all have the worst out of all of them is the people who have SS. Yeah, but SC also have their own complications.
So they have traits because you see, I thought that you only had the SS and the carriers.
Yeah.
Can I interject here for a
Yeah.
second? Because sickle cell has been evolving, in fact, the trait levels have also evolved.
Yeah.
Okay.
You have over, is it over 1,000 different traits
Wow.
of sickle cell disease? Over 1,000. I think it was explained to me because you have, with each region that has sickle cell, you have different, the sickle cell with the different traits from each.
Yes. Oh, yes. I know. So I know. I was actually talking to my friend who's a doctor yesterday, and she was saying to me that the Asians have one that they call transmania.
They have
thalassemia, yeah.
Thalassemia.
Thalassemia, that's it. And that's a different.
Yeah.
And they also have sickle cell.
Yes. So they have thalassemia. You've got the major, you've got the minor.
Yeah.
Wow.
You've got beta thalassemia.
Yeah.
And you've got beta thalassemia, thalassemia major, thalassemia minor. So that's
Wow.
like
Sounds like you've got loads.
so,
Yeah.
and then you also have the sickle cell trait on top of that. So you have people with sickle cell beta thalassemia or sickle cell thalassemia major, thalassemia minor. So you have, so sickle cell is really, really evolving.
Yeah.
Now, even going into intermarriage as well.
Yeah.
You've also got the intermarriage factor coming in, where you have many people from different cultures now coming in, and everybody's getting married to everybody else.
Yeah.
So you have white people with sickle cell, you have Spanish people with
So maybe
sickle
you
cell.
had a time when there weren't that many, but with time, it has now increased.
Yes.
Increased. You've got Mediterraneans with sickle cell. There's sickle cell in Bahrain, sickle cell in Saudi Arabia, sickle cell in fact, the whole of the Mediterranean region. You've got sickle cell in there, and they have their own. You've got SS, SC, SE, SV.
Wow, so it's getting more and more complicated.
AS. So with the letters of the alphabet, they keep going down.
Wow. Now
So
I
you've got
remember
SE, you've got SF.
that is
So
it's just increasing. Because I
Exactly.
remember
over
when
time.
you remember me having a conversation with you and saying to you, is it only mainly black people that have it? Because, you know, there was a time when we were told quite clearly that it was mainly black people that had it.
No, but it's not anymore.
But you know what? Now we've had that kind of description, you know, which I hope and I think is very helpful for people. Can we talk about your experiences? Because as everyone can see, we're all three of us are wearing red, and that's for a reason, because September is Sickle Cell Month, and it's about bringing awareness. There are loads of illnesses out there that have a lot of attention, but we need to be realistic. Something like sickle cell, which affects the black community more than it does most other communities, the awareness is quite low. I think, I'll tell you what, I think I got more awareness about it in Nigeria, living in Nigeria, than I do here.
Yeah.
But you know what, guys, let's talk about your experiences of living with sickle cell. Should I start with, who should I start with? Okay, Ruth. So, Ruth, that's it. That's one thing I'd like to talk about. You know, you are older, and I don't mean to offend anyone, but I remember in my university days, there was, and I don't know whether it was just a rumour or something, they used to say if you're sickle cell and you live over 21, then you're usually going to live for however long you're going to live. Is that true? So if you just tell us about your
experience. I was born with sickle cell, and through the years, as you said, back home in Nigeria, it was said that you wouldn't go past the age of 21.
Yeah.
And it was like in Nigeria, because there was not much, there may be now, there was not much they could do. They only give us folic acid and things like that.
Yeah.
But through the years, you had to go through that pain. And there was nothing
So you had to bear it without painkillers.
The only thing they will give you is paracetamol, and that was all. And I remember then that when I felt a pain coming on, I thought, okay, this is hell time. And you go through it for 3 days because it's continuous for and the only thing you will do is like, if you get to a stage where your body becomes exhausted and you just drop off to sleep, but you wake up and still find the pain there. So
Yeah.
for the 3 days, it's like living in hell. And on the third, you think, okay, but you find out that even after the crisis and pain stops, you still have to have another week to rest because the body is very tired
Body's
and hasn't
exhausted.
got anything to feed back into the body to give it more energy.
Can I ask, in those days, were they doing blood transfusions or
No, they
it did
weren't.
not
They
exist?
weren't. They
Wow.
weren't. I think the only time I had a blood transfusion there, I was about went towards between 18 and 19,
Yeah.
and I think I was saying I had quite a bad jaundice, and I was sort of, my uncle, he was a doctor then, but he's passed away, and he said, no, 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 we need to do something about this. So that was the University of Lagos then. We
Yeah.
had like a clinic there, so I was blood transfused there. And I think that was what saved my life. But
Wow.
after that, I found out that I went through a lot of pain before my body settled down again
Yeah.
because of the blood transfusion. The body trying to cope and settle down with
Trying to
something.
get used to the new
Yes,
blood
yeah,
in the
in the
system. Yeah.
system. Um, and all the years, nobody knew. Everybody was in Nigeria. Then people who had sickle cell were like put away. You can't go out
But
into the
that's what I wanted
society.
to ask you.
Yeah.
That what was your experience in those days as a child or a young person who had sickle
Sickle cell.
cell? You know.
Um, because my own parents were quite educated, those who live in the village, you find out they keep them because they don't really know what's going on with these children.
Yeah.
Either will say, oh, this is with the religious thing,
It's a
or
curse
it's a
or
curse or
something. Yeah.
something, or this child is just given to me to make me cry, or things like that. But because my parents were educated, they did as much as they could
Yeah.
to help me, and whenever I was in pain, to see what they could do, to go to this doctor, go to this hospital. And then we had like herbs that they just, okay, let's try and see if you can use herbs to sort of cure. And it worked to a stage, but not very effective than taking painkillers that will help the pain to go down. And there
Yeah.
was nothing like oxygen then.
Then,
So
yeah.
the body had to sort of cope with whatever was
And
they
that
had.
was what the body needed, isn't it?
Yes,
It was the
exactly,
oxygen that the body was
exactly.
lacking
Yeah.
and needed. And also, I think one of the things I was reading when I was doing my research was about malaria.
Yeah.
And being a sickle cell patient, that is it's quite bad.
Yes. Because the body because of the malaria, the body now has. That's when you find sometimes the body gets jaundice because the body breaks down a lot of. The blood breaks down quite frequently,
Yeah.
and when it hasn't got anything, it goes into the bloodstream, and then that, because the liver cannot cope with it anymore,
Yeah.
it then sends everything to the bloodstream, and that's why you get a lot of
And
jaundice.
causes other
Yes,
complications.
At
exactly.
this point, I need to debunk a myth.
Okay, go on.
Some people say because you have sickle cell, you
Yeah.
cannot get malaria.
Yeah.
That is a lie.
No, I heard it's quite drastic.
Yeah.
It's
It's
quite
Yeah.
drastic
Yeah.
for people that have sickle cell. Or if you have the trait, you cannot get malaria. No,
That's
no,
no.
no, no, no. That's not true.
You're actually more prone to
Yeah,
it
to it.
because
Yeah.
your immune system
Yes.
is weaker.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The only issue with the malaria, where malaria has come in, is because sickle cell actually started as a way for the body, and
Yeah.
this is where the advent of sickle cell came from, where as a means of the body coping against the malaria symptom. And so the body now developed this malfunction cell
To cope.
To cope, yeah.
to
Wow.
help cope against malaria symptoms. And that's how the sickle cell gene started off.
Are you serious?
Yes.
Wow.
And the other thing is, that's one aspect of it. The
Yeah.
other aspect of it is sickle cell is also as a result of a faulty gene in the body. Which
In
is
the body.
chromosome
11.
In the chromosomes, yeah.
11.
Yeah.
So there are two things. So you've got this way of the coping mechanism
Yeah.
from not trying to get malaria
Yeah.
to trying to cope with the malaria symptoms by developing this sickle gene,
which is dysfunctional.
which
Yeah.
is dysfunctional.
Wow. But you know what, Ruth? That is, I'll tell you what, you just, you know, interesting because I'm learning here as well because I did do quite a bit of research and, you know, I was glued. I was glued to the internet, reading everything, calling up a few people. Now, I spoke to you. Your experience of sickle cell was a bit more, what word should I use? Traumatic than Ruth, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Compared to, you know, and I compared to Ruth,
Yeah.
you didn't have it easy. Could we talk about that? Because I think it's, you know, interesting to know because, you know, people, whether we like it or not, the message doesn't get through to everybody.
Yeah.
People don't check their blood groups. I don't think I checked mine when I got married and had my kids. Um, so I think it's interesting for people to hear your stories for that, please.
Okay. Um, I'll start off with when I was quite young.
Yeah.
My brother had sickle cell.
So your parents,
My parents were both AS.
Yes.
right?
Brother had sickle cell. He was always ill from the moment he was about 3 months old,
Yeah.
and that was when they detected that he did have
Sickle cell.
he had sickle cell.
Yeah.
And my mother was all over, you know, she was always constantly in hospital because of my brother.
Yeah.
And then I came along 3 years after that. They took me to the hospital. Does she have sickle cell? Oh no, she doesn't have.
So you were fine. Okay, so you were fine for 3 years,
No,
but then they decided to take you to the
I
hospital.
was born 3 years after my brother.
Oh, okay. Sorry. Yep. Mm-hmm.
And then I was taken to the hospital to check to ensure that I didn't have sickle cell.
Yeah.
But early detection did not detect sickle cell. I was detected as having the trait. And this went on for many years because they never could detect, especially in England.
Yeah.
They didn't detect in England that I had sickle cell. They
Yeah.
only detected the trait. Went back to Nigeria, detected, they came up, oh yeah, she still has the trait, blah, blah, blah.
So wait, let me work
So
this
it's
out.
fine.
So you were born in the UK. You were sent for the test, and they were like, no, she only has the traits.
Yep.
Then you went to Nigeria. You had another test,
Yep.
and they said she only
Trait.
has a trait. Okay.
And along the way, because I had swimming lessons,
Yeah.
and every time I went into the water, I'd come up with crisis. My parents thought, this isn't right. This is not the trait.
There's something going on here.
Something's
Yeah.
wrong here. So
Hmm.
let's go take the test again. By this time, they came up and said, oh yeah, she has it.
How old were you at this
I
point?
must have been about 6, 7,
Wow.
before they literally detected that I actually, because I was never ill.
Yeah.
The only time I would be ill would be when I go swimming, come out, and then I have,
Crisis. Follow. Yeah.
and by the time I took paracetamol, slept it off, I'll be fine.
Hmm.
But through the years as I grew up, because my friends, I was never ill. My brother would be in hospital and I'll be fine. I'll be, oh gosh, here he goes again. I'll be the sympathetic one.
Yeah.
You know, rubbing his legs, oh, my leg,
Yeah.
everything will be fine. And then I fell ill in 1992.
Okay.
I had a major crisis
Out of the blue.
out of the blue, major crisis. And I was in hospital for 6 months.
Wow.
And while in hospital, I literally went into a coma.
Was this in Nigeria?
This was in Nigeria.
Okay.
And what had happened was, I'd fallen ill
Yeah.
with an infection. I was in university using toilet with every other lady in my dormitory. You know,
Yeah.
I'd gone to the toilet. You know, everything's fine. You know how it is, how university is. We all share a room. Everybody shares the toilet. We all clean the toilet, clean the place. And then I ended up with a yeast infection.
Yeah.
I went to my doctor who gave me medication.
Yeah.
Medication didn't work. And along the way, as the medication didn't work, I was getting worse. Went back to school, couldn't concentrate, came back home, medication still didn't work. What's going on? Went back to the doctors. All the medication I was getting wasn't.
Nothing was
Nothing
doing.
was. Nothing was. With all the antibiotics I was being given.
You weren't getting any
nothing
better.
worked. And it wasn't until over the years I realized that there was a time period in Nigeria where we had all these fake drugs.
A lot, yeah.
A lot of these
Yeah.
drugs that came in.
Yeah.
And I remember in university as well, when I was ill, I was literally put in, because I'd gone into a coma by this time, my system had gone into septic shock.
Wow.
I literally had septicemia of the blood cells of my blood. Everything had shut down. At this point, they had to induce me into a coma because they didn't want my organs to shut down.
Yeah.
And they started infusing me with antibiotics.
Yeah.
Or what you got the
The drip. The
Intravenous,
drip.
yeah.
Yeah.
Intravenous.
Intravenous. Yeah. Yeah.
Intravenous antibiotics, and that
Yeah.
was the only thing that worked. And I was in there for literally 6 months. I remember waking up one day and the nurse just looked at me because by this time I'd lost so much weight. I literally was like one of those Somalian children where
Yeah.
I was basically just skin and bones.
Wow.
And I woke up out of this coma about
6 months down the line.
about 6 weeks afterwards.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'd like some water, please. I'm thirsty. And the nurse literally looked at me because they thought I was going to die.
Oh.
I'd actually, my parents had been told, we only want family in the hospital. We don't want anybody else around her. Shut the ward down. She's in intensive care, no friends, nobody come near her. And I remember my friends, literally praying that I actually survived it. And the reason was because we lost a few people to sickle cell at school, and I didn't know it. I didn't know it at the time. I'd lost about 2-3 friends.
Why you were in
While I
hospital?
was in hospital.
Wow.
I'd lost 2-3 friends from sickle cell, and my friends by this time had now gone on a prayer. They've gone on a prayer fast.
Yeah.
It was more or less like, okay, you've got to pass her this scripture, pass her this, and they were literally bringing me CDs on healing.
Yeah.
I would get CDs from, different friends were just sending me T.L. Osborne, what's her name, Kenneth, Gloria Copeland CDs.
Anything
I was
to
literally
inspire
just
you.
to
Yeah.
inspire me. I was literally being fed these CDs
Yeah.
constantly and constantly and constantly. And for some reason, while I was in coma, somebody had come in there and just literally left the CDs on in my room. I didn't know it at the time.
Because what they usually do, I think what they do to people who are in comas, either you have someone talking to them, or they have the television or radio on for them to have, because they say you can still hear.
Yeah. You actually, I really believe so.
Sorry, hold on. It looks like we have an incoming call. Hi, good evening.
Good evening.
Hi. Who am I speaking to, please?
My name is Abayomi.
Hi, Abayomi. How are you? And what would you
I'm very
like to
fine,
say
thank you.
today? Yeah, Abayomi.
Yes,
You there?
I am here.
Yeah, no. Join us. Join in the conversation.
Yes, so what's the topic? I'm on the road, so I'm not watching. I'm just calling in fast place.
Oh, you're just ringing it. Anyway, Abayomi, we're talking about living with sickle cell today. So just as you rang, Fumi was just going through her experience of living with sickle cell. So maybe what you need to do is catch us on your mobile, yeah?
Okay.
All right, then. Thank you for ringing in.
You're welcome.
Okay, then. Okay, sorry about that. Some people forget the lies on it. Yeah. So you were saying?
And so, and I think it must have been my auntie that would have left that on, but I just woke up one day and the nurse looked at me and she thought, gosh, shock. I could see
The fact that you were awake.
Shock on her face. And she was like, I need to get the doctor, I need to get the doctor, I need to get the doctor. And by the time the doctor came, I just said, look, I just need to get out of this bed. I just want to walk.
Are you serious?
Yeah. I was like, look, I don't know what you guys are doing. I just want to walk. I want a glass of water. I
Wow.
literally sat up from my bed and I just wanted to walk around. I remember so many friends. I honestly, till this day, there's some friends that I can never ever
Forget because
just for being there
Being
for
there,
me at
yeah.
the hospital. It's the people I can never never ever forget in my life.
Wow. So how long? So what would you say after that? Did you come straight out of hospital or?
Oh no, no, no. This is where it gets interesting. Because as I got up to walk,
Yeah.
my joints had been starved of oxygen
Oh.
while I was in that coma.
Yeah.
So I lost the use of my joints. I'd literally developed a vascular necrosis of the joints, which is bone death.
Is that where they fuse
Where
together
they
or?
fused together.
Right. Yeah.
So my
Mhm.
hip joints had fused together, my
Oh.
shoulder joints had fused together, and here I was in so much pain, but I just wanted to get out of this bed, and I just wanted to go walking. And so
Yeah.
I started walking, and the nurse was urging me on. She goes, "Just keep going. Just I'm in pain. Don't worry."
And you just
keep-"
wanted,
and I just
you just wanted to give up.
because I just wanted to walk.
Yeah.
And I started walking, and then all of a sudden my doctor saw me, Dr. Akinyanju, and he looked at me and said, "No, no, 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 get her back into bed."
Was this the day you woke up?
That was the day I woke up.
Wow.
And he was like, "No, please, she
Take
can't
it
walk.
gently.
She can't walk on those legs." And they had to go for a scan to
Yeah.
an X-ray
Yeah.
of my joints, and literally found that I developed a vascular necrosis of the joints.
Oh.
By this time, in Nigeria, come on, who deals with a vascular? What hospital? No
Yeah.
hospital deals
No
with
hospital.
a
Yeah.
vascular.
Yeah.
Just
That's
forget that. That's not.
that. Hi, we've got another call coming in. Hold on a sec. Hi. Good evening.
Hello?
Hello. Good evening. Hi. Who am I speaking to?
Yeah, hi. Well, really, I'm just calling to let you know the lady on the left the sound is very low.
Oh, okay. She needs to speak a bit louder. Oh, thank you so much for that. For me.
Okay.
Yeah?
Thank you.
For me, it's very softly spoken. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Can
Yeah,
I
bye.
turn this up at all?
No, you can't for me. Just, yeah.
I'll move
No,
the
just put it
mic.
beside you. Just put it back beside you and just speak a bit louder.
I think
Yeah.
I'm just gonna move it.
Okay, we're just going to move that a little bit. For me, is so softly spoken, bless her.
Goodness.
You're not loud like me. I'm very loud. Sometimes I think I don't need a mic. I could just talk and you'd still hear me. Just, yeah? Are we good to go? If we put the mic beside you, that's it. Okay. I hope, and if you can't hear, if anyone can, yeah, if you can't hear her, please ring in and tell us. Yeah, go on.
And so by the time he just looked at me and thought, "Just get back into bed, please." And by this time it was more or less, okay, what can we do? What can we do? What can we do about this?
Yeah.
What can we do about the necrosis?
Yeah.
And you can't imagine explaining this to my dad, who for the first time was seeing me on oxygen, and he was literally crying in my room, thinking,
Yeah,
what's
going on?
And then now tell my father that I was going through necrosis of the joints.
Yeah.
By this time.
Yeah. Go on.
By this time.
Yeah.
My joints had literally just shut down completely.
Totally shut down.
So
when you think about it, you doing that walking would have created more damage rather than good, wouldn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. So the next day?
By the time they got to the next day, they made a decision that, okay, we're going to put her on traction to try and separate.
Oh my God.
That's
quite painful.
Yes, it is.
I've heard about
because
that, yes.
I literally had to have these two things hooked up to my legs.
Yeah.
And stretched.
Yeah. Have we got your alarm on your phone? Oh, no. That's okay. Don't worry. Yeah, no, you keep on telling us. Keep on.
Okay.
Yeah,
so
go on.
I had to have traction for another month or so, 6 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And traction didn't work. Traction was prolonged. One leg on the other side and the other leg on the other side was shorter than one.
Yeah.
Now my uncle just looked at me and said, "You know what? Try and get her out of the country."
Of the country, so it's time
as soon
to.
as possible.
Yeah.
Just get her out of the country.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, there was nothing they could do for me over there.
Yeah.
And so, being British, my dad just thought, "Well, if I let her go, she's not going to come back."
Oh, bless him. Oh.
She's not going to come back.
Oh.
I really don't want her to go.
Sorry, can I quickly ask you, how many kids did your parents?
Had 2 kids. Well, my mother had 2 kids.
Yeah.
Just to put this,
Into perspective.
We were told we were not going to last we were not going to last more than the age of 21.
So that same story that I heard,
Yes.
yeah,
We were,
wow.
and at this point, my father was like, okay, his family became very restless.
Like they do, and say, come on, you need to go and have more
No,
kids with
exactly,
somebody else.
exactly.
Yes,
Absolutely,
yes.
which is exactly what happened.
Yeah.
So he went out and had two more kids that did not have sickle
That
cell
were most
disease.
were they AS though? Were they carriers?
You know, I
Be
have no
interesting to
idea.
it would be interesting to know, wouldn't it?
Exactly.
Till this day,
Yeah.
what my
Okay.
brother and sister, whether they're
So
carriers or not.
oh, so okay, so they decided that you should come to the UK. Because you know what, I might be hurrying you up a bit, but I'm thinking you'd be surprised how quickly time flies.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Everybody says I don't want to come on, but then they said that, oh, is time gone? Yes. God, yeah.
And so we had, I came in. I remember the first hospital I came through because.
So they
when
brought
I
you
came
straight
in-
to the UK.
Straight to the
Could I
UK.
ask you, were you walking by that time?
No, I was in a wheelchair.
Wow.
Like I said, there was literally
Nothing.
nothing that they could do for me. I'd lost weight. I was purely skin and bone.
Yeah.
Lost the use of my legs. Lost the use of my arms. Everything had gone. And so I came into the UK on a wheelchair. In fact, I had to have special permission to come into the UK
Because of your condition.
because of my condition. And the only reason why they would allow me to.
Because you were a British citizen.
I was a British citizen. And I
Yeah.
had dual nationality. The first hospital I went into, which was St. Mary's in Paddington, they looked at me and they just said, oh no, she's not coming to die on our table. So please, can you just take her away?
Are you serious?
They rejected me immediately. By this time, weekend, my doctors had literally just said, you know what, let's just put you on morphine. Because if you had just literally touched me,
You were
would
in
scream.
pain.
I was in so much pain.
Wow.
By the time Monday came, took me to Royal Free. Royal Free said, don't worry, we'll sort you out. Within 6 weeks, I'd had the first hip replacement.
You had a hip
I
replacement.
had a hip replacement. By the time the doctor went in, he said, look, it was liquid. There was nothing there. It was rotten. We've got to do the second one. That's why you're in so much pain. We've got to have the second one done as soon as possible. So I had the first one done. Second one done about 6 months after. I was literally given another hip replacement on my.
So you were literally bedridden within your first year in the UK.
Absolutely.
Wow.
And so I've had to have, well, they had the first one, second one, then they said, we're going to continue with the shoulders. And I looked at my shoulders and I thought, I've had the hips done. I'm in pain, but you know what? Let me rest.
Rest before
Let
you
me rest before I have
any more
operation.
done. Yeah.
But over the years, and hip replacements are meant to last 10 to 12, 15 years.
Yeah.
Especially for people that have, especially for older people.
Yeah.
This is done for people in the 60s.
Yeah,
70s,
yeah,
the older
yeah.
generation. I wore mine out within 6 years or 7 years. And
Was
I had
that because of the illness, or
I wouldn't quite say.
was it because you were running around a lot?
Oh gosh,
You were so excited
I was
to
so
be up.
excited to be up and about.
Oh,
And,
bless.
I'd started school by this time. I'd gone back to university because I literally didn't want to put my life on hold anymore.
You just wanted to
I
do
just wanted
anything
to
there
do
was to be done.
Everything that there was, and I'd gone back to school. Within 6 years, I was back in hospital, another hip replacement. About 4 years after that, another hip replacement.
Are these on both the same hips or different hips?
Same, different hips.
Okay.
And both of them done.
Wow.
And I've had 7 operations on both hips.
7 operations.
7 operations on both hips.
Do you know what? Just seeing your inner strength, because in spite of all that you have gone through, you still give out positive vibes, which is really good to see. Because when you think about, when I sit down and talk to you, and I think of a few problems that I've had that weigh me down, and to have you sitting here with me, yet smiling and talking about it, it just feels good.
Thank you.
No, seriously, it feels very good. Now tell me, because I didn't get to ask you this before we came on air, I'm so sorry about that. Do you guys mind if I ask you any personal questions?
Go ahead.
No, that's it.
So did any of you get married?
I got married. Well, we're both
Married.
You're both married.
married.
That is
I'm
nice.
divorced. but we did not get divorced because of the sickle cell.
So
I have to say that.
that is good.
Yeah.
That is very good. That is very
It
good.
wasn't sickle cell that
That
made us go our separate
oh
ways.
God, there's enough divorces out there. I don't think sickle cell could be an excuse anymore. Do you?
So,
So, did your SS status come up when you were going to get married, or was it something that you never discussed? Ruth first, shall I ask?
it was something because what happened was when I was going to get married, my aunt, one of my aunts who was a nurse, a senior nurse, said, "Oh, you need to go and check out if your husband is an AS, and if he is, you have to find a way to." I thought, I can't be
End the
bothered with that."
relationship.
Exactly.
Because
But
one thing I want to quickly say is, if you as an SS marries somebody who is not an S,
Yeah.
then that means that there's a possibility of you having a child who is a carrier,
Yes.
but not a full-blown sickle
Yeah.
cell. And also, hold on, we have another call coming. Hi, good evening.
Hi, good evening.
Hi, who am I speaking to, please?
My name is Dele.
Hi, Dele. Thank you so much for calling in. Is that Dele of
Yeah, you're
Link
welcome.
Me?
Yes, he is.
Oh, thank you so much. Dele is our sponsor tonight. Thank you, Dele. And I hope you don't mind me saying, Dele, that you have some experience with sickle cell as well, don't you?
Not personally,
Not
but I know
personally.
someone who's got experience of sickle cell, yeah.
Yeah. Hi. And what are you going to say to us tonight?
Just wanted to know if, well, first of all, I'll thank the ladies for coming out tonight to share their experience. And I would like to find out if there's any kind of nutrition they could advise anyone with sickle cell.
Actually,
Yeah.
thank you, David, for asking that because that is one of the things that we advocate quite seriously. We really, really advocate 7 fruits and vegetables every single day, not
Every
5.
day.
The government says 5. We say 7. We say 8. We say endless, because we found that with nutrition as a key factor for people with sickle cell, and we found that with the proper and right nutrition, you putting in the right things into your system, you will stay away from crisis for longer periods.
Yeah.
The body actually thrives with things like chlorophyll, which is chlorophyll in the body is something it helps with the anemic symptoms
Right.
of the body. Helps.
And what fruit do you find that in? Or what veg?
The vegetables, you find them in green vegetables. Things like spinach, things like wheatgrass. I don't know if you've ever heard of wheatgrass. Wheatgrass has one of the highest chlorophyll contents of all time. You'll find it in things like ugu.
Okay.
Ugu, the ugu of wheat, ugu, I think bitter leaf also has a bit of it as well. So we always advocate that you juice.
So one of the things, you're talking about having these things raw.
Yes.
Dele, sounds like investing in a juicer. The bullet, I would advise at this point. The bullet seems quite good. Dele, have you ever seen the bullet?
The nutrient.
No.
That's a very good juicer where it blends everything fine. That sounds,
Okay.
We advocate at least 3 times a week because they're quite high. If you're not used to juicing quite often, it can send you straight to the toilet, and cleanse your system out. But we advocate that you do it as often as you can. As often as you can. It's you can mask the taste of ugu because ugu doesn't taste quite nice. I literally drink ugu. I could drink ugu. I mix up my juices. I could blend it with apples or
something to make it sweet.
Just to make it sweet. To give it a good taste. We advocate loads of fruits. So you need to try different things that would work for you, especially fruit juices, fruit smoothies.
And the fresher they are, the better.
We would advocate, do not leave fruit juice in the fridge overnight.
Make it fresh all the time.
Make it fresh and drink it immediately.
It tends to lose its
because
strength.
The antioxidants in it begin to break down quite fast, and then it becomes it just doesn't function after that.
Yeah.
And I know Ruth has quite a few things to talk about nutrition. So
Yeah,
Yeah.
as Fumi said,
Do you know what? No, Deli, thank you for ringing. If you keep on listening, Ruth is going to give us some information as well.
Okay, that'll be great. Thank you for coming again.
thank you.
thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Deli.
Yeah, bye.
Okay.
As Fumi said, we need to take a lot of fruit, things like vegetables and fruit juice. There are also other things like you have something called carao. You have
Oh, Carell, you
yeah,
can get that in
yeah,
Tesco's, can't you? Because one of the things that I wanted to ask you was that something like ugu, sometimes it's hard to get fresh. Because I know that there was a shop I used to go and they used to bring it only on certain days.
Yeah.
And you need to get to mainly the African shops
Yeah.
because you don't really get ugu in the
No,
supermarkets. So you need to get to the African shops, check with them what days they receive
come
their
in, yeah.
ugu, so you can get it that day. And how about if people buy it and freeze it? Is that
Yeah,
good?
that's fine. Yeah.
So
that's
buy
fine.
it in bulk,
Yeah.
get it washed off the stems
Cut it
Yeah.
off.
in the freezer,
Yeah.
and then you can bring it out
When you need
anytime
it.
you want to.
Yeah.
Okay.
Absolutely. I actually found another method. You could. The last one I did, I took it off the leaves and I left it in a bag in the fridge
Wow.
with holes in it, and it's still in my fridge.
And it stayed fresh.
It
stays
Ugu is
fresh.
quite
Yes,
durable,
yeah.
isn't it? It kind of
It
lasts,
stayed-
yeah.
It stayed quite fresh. So it depends on how you want to store it. Because I normally just pick the leaves out, wash them, and just put them in my juicer.
Yeah,
It serves me to live in my fridge.
yeah.
Sometimes it serves me to live in the freezer as well. But
Depending on.
you can do
Either
both.
way.
And you have to go with what's going on for you
Yeah,
during the week as well,
exactly.
don't you?
Absolutely.
Wow.
Raw foods. We are very strong advocates on
Raw foods, yeah.
On raw foods.
Yeah.
You either eat them raw, juice them. They're very good for you.
Raw. So
Yeah.
avoid boiling them
Yeah.
Avoid boiling.
because that kills all the nutrients
Yeah.
in them.
Absolutely. And you tend to overboil, don't you?
Yes,
When
definitely.
when
You
I
want
juice
it
them.
soft,
Soft,
yeah.
yeah.
You want it cooked. Yeah.
Absolutely. And another thing I would say is this: especially with your foods, make sure you eat them quite fresh. Because there's a tendency for us to keep putting foods in the fridge overnight, and then we're taking them out again, and then warming them up, eating them again.
And especially for those of us in the UK where there's so many microwave meals,
Exactly.
tin foods, there's
Too
hardly
many
any time.
preservatives in it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Because you get quite a bit from them. There's quite a bit that comes, from the foods that you eat. The greener,
The better.
The way nutritionists would say it is,
The
have
greener
all
the
colours in
better.
there.
Yeah.
But
All
the greener the
colours,
better.
Yeah,
greener
the greener the better.
All the colours, you go for all the colours you can go for and mix them up and just see what works for you.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you have fussy eaters, children. who
Yeah.
tend to be
That's what I
fussy
wanted to
eaters.
say, that, it's, I think we as adults, we are able to force ourselves
Yeah.
to take the juices. But when it comes to kids,
Yeah.
it's a bit harder, isn't it? And any advice on how to help parents encourage kids to...
Yeah.
You can use like if they like yogurt, you can sort of things like, or beetroot is also very good, but things like yogurt, you can put some, if you juice, you can either mix it with the yogurt, or if you like fruits in particular, those
Yeah.
are more sweeter than the other ones. But
How about
you can
honey?
Honey is
I'm just
sugar,
asking.
and with sugar in
So they
its
need
own
to
way,
avoid
yeah.
sugar, yeah?
Anything
Okay.
sugary or
Oh.
any white sugar, no way.
Do you know
After
what?
this.
We have so little time left, and I really wanted you guys to explain your experiences about getting married and everything, and but I think it's good for people to hear. But you know what? Ruth,
Yeah.
I think I kind of got your one, which was really good.
Yeah.
So it was like you met someone
Yes.
and you did do a check.
Yeah.
For me,
We did a check, but then we also had complications in between. Even though we did the check, he was AA.
Yeah.
And I was, SS, so we had a Kyrie child.
okay. So you have a child who is an AS.
Yes.
Yeah.
But when the families now come together and, oh gosh, yeah, you know how it is with, oh, she's sickle cell, let's not go down that line.
She's not sickle cell. She's a carrier. There's a big difference.
So
Yeah.
we had a little bit of an experience where his mom didn't, she was a bit careful.
Yeah, because you
about
do.
what she said.
I think you. Yeah, because I think you do find that. Sadly enough, they do attach a stigma
There is
Yeah.
a stigma
to
attached
Yeah.
to
someone
sickle
being
cell.
sickle cell. It's like, how are you going to be dealing with the crisis all the time?
Exactly.
How are you going to be dealing, being in and out of hospital? And your kids, what are going to happen? What's going to happen to your kids when
Yeah.
they're born? So, wow.
There is
It's-
I mean, that's another thing. There's a huge stigma attached to people with sickle cell. I mean, I have people in my group that would tell me I was never really allowed downstairs when we had guests.
Oh, that is so sad.
I wasn't, I was told I couldn't do this, I couldn't do
Do
that.
that,
Yeah.
I was told, my career choice, I wasn't
Something
able to
simple.
go,
Do what everybody else
Yeah.
does.
what everybody else does. And so it was quite traumatic for some.
Yeah.
But when you have parents that are liberal, sometimes it actually helps.
Guys, do you know what? I would like to say a big, massive thank you for coming on tonight. As you can see, the time flies. Surprise!
Yeah.
Do you know, we never ever end up having enough time. There's still, so hopefully we'll have a day. I say this to everyone, and we never get there, where you'll come back and we can cover some things that we haven't covered. For this, for today as well, I'd like to say a big thank you to linkme.com. I think it was really wonderful of him to sponsor this show. I think there's certain information that needs to go out. I think something like sickle cell is a very important topic that needs to go on within our community because it's something that does affect us all the time, and it affects you in different ways. It affects your schooling, it affects work.
Yeah.
Another thing we didn't talk about, how it affects work, schooling, it affects relationships.
Yeah.
So, it affects every part of life. But, and to round up, what piece of advice would you give anyone in regards to sickle cell, Ruth? Very quickly.
What I would say is like they should live their life as much as they can. When you eat the right things, find out that it's much easier. You get less crisis. And another thing is like, just be positive in all that you do. It's not as bad. There's always a light at the end of the tunnel.
Thank you for that. Sorry, I'm going to have to stop. We've only got a few seconds for me.
There is life with sickle cell. I don't believe that your life has ended. I believe it's actually time for you to live your life, despite the fact that you have a blip with sickle cell.
Yeah.
Do whatever it is that makes you happy.
Exactly.
Go for it. Aspire to be the best.
Yes.
Aspire to move on in life. Aspire to do everything that you've always wanted to do. You may have sickle cell, but sickle cell doesn't define you.
Yeah.
It doesn't.
You define sickle cell.
Exactly.
Thank you so much for that, guys. I actually feel really inspired. I'd like to say a big thank you to my two guests for this evening. I'm really grateful for everyone that rang in, and of course you, Dilly, who runs www.linkme.com. Thank you so much. Good night and goodbye. Thank you.